Hello! You are watching the Video Voters Guide, organized by the League of Women Voters of Portland. All candidates who filed for this race were invited to participate in the Video Voters Guide. However, there are many reasons during a campaign why a candidate may be unable to appear. For comprehensive coverage by the League, including information on candidates who might not have been available for a video interview, visit vote411.org. Information is available in both English and Spanish. Candidates may choose to include additional information on Vote 411, such as their own YouTube videos. Watch, share, and be an informed voter.
Hello, this is Haley McLaughlin from the League of Women Voters of Portland, and with me today is Jaime Cale, running as a write-in candidate for Portland Public School Board, Zone 4, in the May 18th special election. Welcome, Jaime.
Hi.
To get us started, what does being a supporter of public education mean to you?
Supporting public education to me means if you're a parent, sending your kids to your local school and being engaged with that school community, going to PTA meetings, going to events, knowing your kids' teachers. And if you don't have school-age children, it can mean the same thing. Also, going to events, helping with landscaping in the area, keeping the school clean, voting for bonds and measures that help our school buildings get fixed and replaced. We have some of the oldest buildings in Oregon for our schools. We definitely need those extra funds to make sure that they are in as best shape as they can be for kids. And also, I think supporting public school means voting in all the school board elections and putting who you think best represents the community on those boards.
What do you think is the biggest challenge facing our public schools right now, and what is your plan to address it?
The biggest challenge by far is how to reopen schools safely right now. We have some of our kids, back in the building, which is great, and I'm happy to see them since I work in a school. But I do think we need to figure out how to plan for rigorous and robust fall. I think most of our children will be back in school. I do think we will have some children due to medical conditions or family medical conditions that won't be able to come back into school. So I think we have to think outside of the box and think creatively, maybe have a virtual K-12 academy for those kids. There's some teachers that can't come back due to those reasons too. So I'm sure they find no problem staffing like a virtual academy and making it like a robust little school of its own. We haven't opened a school in a long time in PPS, so it might be a fun time to open a school, especially if we're virtual and we know how to do it now. And especially if those kids had educators that already knew how to teach virtually, it wouldn't be hard. And then we could also focus on keeping our kids that are in school safe and, with PPE and with lots of training and lots of safety committees doing the work, I think we could easily manage to have kids in person and kids online and both learning and doing well.
How are our schools planning to ensure that students graduate with the knowledge and skills they need to be college and career ready?
I don't know if we're managing it 100% as well as we could. I think that a lot of students, especially students of color, don't have staff who look like them. Especially from an early age, I didn't have my first teacher who looked like me until I was in high school. So having teachers that look like kids earlier, for one, is definitely a way, because I think you're more engaged if you have somebody teaching you who looks like you. And then I think starting career and technical education programs earlier, even in elementary school, all things for like job fairs and seeing all different kinds of jobs, and having electives in middle school and all the middle schools, not just certain middle schools. Shop, we need to bring shop back and more hands-on activities. And I know there's a lot of schools with makerspace, but we definitely could use that in all the clusters, all the way through high school. I think guidance counselors also need to be trained to better help children or students at that point. They're not so little anymore to be children, to show that there's vocational programs, there's technical programs, there's all kinds of college. We don't just need to focus on one route. There's definitely different routes kids can take depending on their interests and needs. And guidance counselors getting trained in all those areas would be helpful.
What district actions do you believe would be most effective at reducing the learning gaps of minorities? And are there any partnerships you could use to help reduce those minority learning gaps?
to me, it also goes back to the educators and staff looking like the students they're teaching. I do think the district is actually doing a great job on using CBOs, which are community-based organizations like SEI and NAEA and ERGO. We are getting them out in the schools, and they're providing mentors and family programming. My goal, though, would be some of the programs work only after school, and I think we need the programs in the school all day from 8 to 3, just like the kids are. Well, 8 to 6 probably, because there's after school programming. But using those programs to fill some of the cultural gaps that our schools just can't provide. Because, it's great to hire teachers of color and staff of color, but if they're not out there to hire because it goes all the way back to universities and colleges recruiting, then we at least have the CBO programs that do seem to be able to hire staff of color at a higher rate. So using them definitely in the schools more often, all day, from being there and to greet kids, to mentor kids during the day, being there at lunch and recess, all the way to after school and providing clubs and activities.
How will you help students heal from the trauma of COVID-19, the losses, quarantines, economic instability, online learning, etc.?
Well, we have definitely hired more social workers in the district, but I think we could even go further and hire even more. Some that just focus on kind of the learning around resiliency and trauma, whether your kid went to an affluent school on the west side or a really diverse school like mine at Rosa Parks. I think we can all agree that all the kids have experienced some kind of trauma just by being at home for a year and a half. I have a student myself, a 5th grader, and he's the most extroverted little guy I know, and he's scared to go back to school. So if I have a very, what I consider mentally healthy child who's not even wanting to go back, compared to children who have, more issues, I can only imagine that we're going to have a lot of kids struggling. So small groups, I think we start slowly. I think we stagger the start so that we're only letting in a grade every day or every other day, and kind of just getting kids used to being in a building again. They've been doing school in their dining room or their bedroom for a year and a half. So making them feel safe and comfortable in the building and getting them just used to being there before we jump right into curriculum. I mean, we all know the kids are going to be a little behind. So it's, getting them mentally and socially ready for a week or two before we jump into academics, I think would go really far.
Thank you, Jaime, for joining us today.
Thank you.
I want to remind our viewers that the special district election will be Tuesday, May 18th. As with all elections in Oregon, we will vote by mail. The last day to register is Tuesday, April 27th. Ballots will be mailed beginning Wednesday, April 28th, and must be received by Tuesday, May 18th at 8 p.m. Postmarks do not count, so please plan to mail early or use a drop-off site. Additional information about races and other election information is available at the league-sponsored website, vote411.org. Please be an informed voter and share this resource with your family and friends. This is Haley McLaughlin with the League of Women Voters of Portland. Thank you for joining us today.